morning and welcome to another episode of Breaking Through Your Now with your life coach, Sybil Sloan. Yes, we're back, and yes, we are here to get your day started with encouragement, but most of all, inspiration from people that look like you and I. Thank you so much for choosing us, and today we're celebrating something that's so phenomenal that every woman should stand up right now and just honor the fact that it's our centennial, 100 years since Congress ratified our right to vote. I don't know about you. I don't even know if you exercise your right, but just to know that there were women who petitioned, who fought, and I'm sure there were some women who were even mistreated for this right to vote. And in honor of that, we have an amazing guest with me today, none other than Dr. Sherica Braxton. Welcome,
Hello,
welcome,
hello,
welcome.
hello. Welcome. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much for letting me be here.
Well, no. Let me tell you something. Let's just get this all out here for all women. We don't let people be anywhere. If a stage is presented for me and I'm a real woman, it's automatically presented for you. So we're gonna thank God for letting us
That's
be here.
right.
We're gonna thank
That's
the
right.
network for honoring what we bring to the table. So, Dr. Braxton, it's an honor to first say Dr. Braxton. So we're celebrating 100 years. Like it's the centennial
It
for
is.
the right that many of us don't even understand. I know people think of it culturally, but as a woman, I think, who was it that cared so much about me having an equal voice or an equal seat at the table so that my voice counted? How do you feel? We're going to get into your bio. That's a part of who you are. But what does this day mean to you?
It means everything. I have a choice. I have a right. I'm not waiting on anyone. We do what we do, and that's what we were birthed to do. So I'm happy. It's everything.
So when I think of this 100 years, I think of your journey. I think of you deciding that I'm going to do more than somebody else did. I'm going to do more than maybe even anybody in my family. And based on what I'm understanding from your bio, you have a bunch of those first things that's going on inside of you. You were the first doctor in your family. So what is your doctor's in?
I have a doctorate in organizational leadership. It's an EDD. So yes, that's my area.
So you help people. You teach the leaders how to lead.
Right.
Oh, we need
Help
leaders.
construct the companies, help pull everybody together, motivate them.
So technically, it's a matter of coaching in a way.
It
It's
is.
just not necessarily labeled as coaching. And you went to the extreme of getting a doctor's degree. So we definitely are. We aren't minimizing that to the level of coaching. So you are the corporate person that goes in and helps get companies to the point where whether they're having issues amongst each other, because a lot of companies invite people in
Right.
dealing with. Do you deal with diversity
I do.
issues?
Yes, diversity and inclusion, making sure we get the right person selected for the job.
So when you do that, because I have this personality ID test, which basically it tells you if you're doing the right thing,
Okay.
or it tells you this ain't for you. This ain't really what your personality is set up to do. So do you do that type of training, or is it more specific to the company?
Well, it depends on what the need is. Whatever the need is, that's where I am. If it's to help someone to understand who they are, let's bring it out of them. Let's pull it out of them so that they can birth their purpose. What are they doing? Why are they here? That's who I am. That person to help them recognize this is who I am. This is what I want to do. I believe in myself.
So you were born in what city and state?
Selma, Alabama. I was born in Selma, Civil Rights City, the
You
March.
know what, the march, and you know what, and all homage and respect goes to not only our Congressman John Lewis, but my frat brother John Lewis, and all the work that he did. And it's so amazing that we just celebrated his journey as a hero, and we watched as they went back to the, is it the Edmund Pettus
Edmund Pettus
Bridge?
Bridge, yes.
I don't really know the major history with the name, but what I do honor is the fact that now they're considering possibly
Changing the
changing the name.
name.
So, oh, it's in the name. Boy, that can go
It's it.
somewhere.
That bridge over troubled waters. A lot of people have come across that bridge, and it started back in 1963, where we took over Selma, Bloody Selma, that march. That was the inspiration.
Wow. So there's so many things, because when you talk about that, you were there obviously at some point in your life, even if you were a child. You were there, and we looked through the transition of history. Because when you look back at women's suffrage, it wasn't just we got the okay. It wasn't just one day we woke up and, oh yeah, come on in here and vote because you.
Right.
No, literally people went through the same oppression.
Right.
Women experienced minorities. So let me just say this word, minority.
Okay.
The minorities, whether it was cultural, whether it was gender, or whether it was race,
Okay.
the minorities were the ones who had to overcome oppression. Let's just go there for a minute.
Okay.
We have a couple minutes before break. As a doctor,
Okay.
as a female,
All right.
as a black girl from Selma, Alabama, I just got to say it like it is. Could you just tell us before this break, what did it feel like having to go through that journey from a city, an area of oppression, to becoming who you are now?
It's all in your resilience, what you want from it. The foundation was laid. I met some of the influential people, Annie Cooper, the different people that made the impact, Joanne Bland, and everybody, those real matriarchs that really helped us get where we are. And so it's just resounding to be in the presence, to be in that place.
Wow. So when you look back, because you have a daughter, right?
I do.
And I know that one of the biggest things as a parent is wanting to make sure that you show them a way that's greater than your way. What would you say to a mother right now who's in that journey, who's in that tight? Right before we go to break, I think we have probably about 30, 40 seconds. How would you say, or what would you say to a mother before break in a few words of how she can help her daughter or her child get through that next point?
Teach the history. Make sure they are aware of who they are and where they come from. Make sure that they are inspired and encouraged so that they will self-identify.
Wow.
We'll be right back with Breaking Through Your Now with Sybil Sloan. Now, back to Breaking Through Your Now with Sybil Sloan.
Welcome back. Thank you all so much for coming back and allowing us to remain a part of your morning. We were just talking with Dr. Braxton, and she was speaking of the importance of knowing history, his story, her story. It's just important to know the story. So as I was looking through your bio, I realized that, for one, I didn't even know you were into graphics.
Okay.
So how did you get from a doctor, that's rewinding the screen, to a graphics person? Help me out.
I started doing obituaries. I started nurturing families at Lewis Brothers Funeral Home in Selma, and I would reach the families through the designs. Whatever they wanted, they would give me their ideas, and I would put it together.
Wow. And that's, so I believe, now this is just my belief, I believe that in itself is still something else, because when you speak of graphics speak.
Right.
They represent the person. So when you started doing that, did you just do it for the funeral home you were working for, or did you allow yourself to branch out and start doing it for other people?
I started for the funeral home. The first day, Ashley Millhouse gave me an opportunity to create for my brother-in-law an obituary. And it started at the funeral home, and once people started to see my work, because she would push me. Once they saw my work, everybody started calling, and I just branched into this big person. So I had to come up with a name, and I had to identify what I was doing and what did I want to do with it. And so I was able to assist people in making that picture, giving them the memory that they need for the rest of their life.
Wow, that's amazing. I know some other people who have, moved into the area. I never realized how much it is, because I'm that person that don't want to look at an obituary. I'm that person that, I think I told my mom, you don't have to print obituaries when I leave here. Just come together, have a good time, and take the people onto the house. And don't let nobody preach, because I don't want them holding up time too long, because everybody won't telling me, you going to eulogize me. Don't preach me, just eulogize me. Speak well of me. That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
That's what a eulogy means, everybody. That's a didactic moment. Take it with you. Speak well of. So as I speak well of you, I want to take this moment, and there's something brewing in you. We won't bring all of that up, because we got to give people something. Let's give them something to talk about.
Right.
Yeah, we got to give them something to go in their arsenal and try to figure out. But I do want to say, what What do you do? What do you offer right now that people could come locate you and find you and use your services? Besides the graphics and the designs, there's some other things that you do that you sort of kind of keep hush hush.
Mentoring, coaching, motivation, making sure everyone is aligned to their purpose. Where are you headed? What do you want to do? I'm doing it all. That's it. Just call me. I'll help you. I'll speak life into you.
Ooh, she'll speak life into, and do we not understand that life is in the power of the tongue? So I'm telling somebody right now that's watching, you've been saying, I can't. I just want to give you 2 words. I can. Say that for the rest of the day. Say that for the rest of the week. I
I
can.
can.
And you're going to make it. So you said, I speak life. Where can they locate you if they wanted to contact you to use your services to do business with you? How would they do that?
They can contact me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook at Sherica L. Braxton. Send me a private message. We'll go back and forth. We'll dialogue. And then eventually I'll give you my phone number and we can communicate.
Eventually, y'all. So don't come in there thinking you're going to get it first.
Nah.
Because she said eventually.
That's
So,
right.
so what would you say to a woman? What would you say to a young lady? What would you say to a young man? I don't want it to appear as if I'm anti men because I love men. You guys should know that because I wrote the world's best-selling book, Put Your Mouth on Them. So you should know I love men. And what is that for? Everybody's like, oh my God. It's a book of affirmations and prayers for the men in your life. But right now we're celebrating the fact that women obtained a right that others had that they didn't have. What would you say to a woman, a daughter, a granddaughter, a niece, an auntie, a cousin, of how they can get to that next place? What would you say as a coach, how they can get to that next place?
Find your inner strength. It's within you. You just have to believe that you can do it. Never give up.
So their inner strength, what would that look like for that person that don't feel like they have any strength? There's somebody out there watching right now that feel like life has given them the twizzle. You know, the rope where it says if you feel like you're something about you're at the end of the rope, tie, knot, hang on. Some people have shreds that they can't really make a knot. What would you say to that person?
I would pick those shreds up and tell them, put it back together. Build what you want to be. Who are you? What were you created to do?
Wow.
Build yourself up. How do you see yourself? Their perception doesn't matter. Your self-perception is everything. How do you see yourself?
And sometimes we have to realize that the way we see ourselves is often the labels and the names and the behaviors that was given to us from mothers, fathers, cousins, aunts, and friends. So when we say see yourself, don't tell us how you see yourself through someone else's eyes. Tell us how you see yourself through your own eyes. So again, you talked about the bridge. You said the bridge that brought us over. Just if you were to talk about name 1 or 2 women, not just locally, but nationally, internationally, that were a part of bringing us over, what would you say? Who would you think of when you think about bringing us over?
Oh wow, there's so many.
Well, I would say Harriet Tubman.
You want to say Harry?
Harriet Tubman said, I would have freed more people if they would have only knew that they were slaves.
It's so many. Right now I'm in a becoming moment. I'm gonna say Michelle Obama. She's still pulling
Ooh,
us.
becoming. Yes,
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 we're
yes.
becoming.
And I'm going to say Oprah Winfrey because Oprah Winfrey said an empowered woman empowers other women.
Women, that's right.
So it's good to know purpose. It's good to know who you are. It's good to know what you were called to. Because I learned that if you understand what you're called to, you'll understand there's a call to go through. You don't automatically get to the great,
Right.
but you got to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly.
It's in the strength. It's in your strength. It's in that inner strength.
So you're what you're saying as we're closing is that people come and become who they are based on who they are called
perceive
to
them
be.
yes.
You all have tuned in to another episode of Breaking Through Your Now with your life coach, Sybil Sloan. We have another guest this morning, and before we get to that guest, we're going to wrap up here with Dr. Braxton with another commercial.
We'll be right back with Breaking Through Your Now with Sybil Sloan. Now, back to Breaking Through Your Now with Sybil Sloan.
Welcome back to Breaking Through Your Now with your life coach, Sybil Sloan. And guess what? I have another guest with me this morning. As I said, we are giving homage to women, women everywhere. Why? Because it's our centennial, 100 years of having the right to vote. And if you have not exercised your right to vote, this is a great time. This is a great year to instill that back into your life. I have not only a beautiful woman of God, but a beautiful spirit, and she makes people beautiful. See what she did for me? If she can do it for me, oh, I bet she can do it for anyone. So, Miss Ella Howard, welcome to Breaking Through Your Now.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to be here.
No, ma'am, this platform was presented to me, so guess what? It automatically ushered in a platform for you. That's just the uniqueness of God, the God that I serve. That's the God that's in me. But you came and you just did this. Okay, so now I have to ask before we get into your bio. Were you trained on makeup? Like, where did it come from? Because it had to come from somewhere.
No, actually, I am self-taught. Never had any
Wow.
professional training whatsoever. I had my brows waxed one time and they were waxed off very thin. I started watching videos on how to fill them in. And from there, I said, oh, maybe I should try a foundation. Oh, maybe I should try a little highlighting, contouring. And there goes.
Wow. So do you do tutorials on makeup?
Yes, I do tutorials and I actually teach classes one-on-one and groups as well.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You went,
Yes.
this is, when I say this, because sometimes we get so consumed with what we are not trained to do. We get so consumed with what we didn't go to school to do. And then whenever something comes for us to do it, we're like, I would, but. What made you not say, because you said I do group sessions. What made you not say I would, but?
Well, I questioned my ability, the art, the gift that God gave me. And I said, well, at that time I was 40. And I said, well, I've never been into makeup. My mother never wore makeup, doesn't even wear lip gloss. My sisters never worn an ounce of makeup. And I asked God, I said, hey, what is it that you want me to do with the gift that you gave to me to give back? And I found that gift and giving back to the least of them, making them feel beautiful.
Wow. So let's talk about that for just a moment, because based on what I'm understanding, you actually do this as a part of a community call, an outreach.
Yes.
What does that look like?
Well, actually, my first group encounter was when I worked in community health.
Okay.
We had a public housing facility, well, I'm sorry, a public housing health center. And in that health center, we had a group of ladies who wanted to improve their self image. And what I did was I agreed that I would assist
Wow.
them, not only teach them about soft skills and basic writing skills and things of that nature, but they were in all about my makeup set, and they asked, hey, can you teach me how to do my makeup? And
Wow.
from there, I taught them, had about 4 or 5 ladies, and it started there. I enjoyed it. The reward for me was awesome. It was awesome to see just to see the return, the way that it made those ladies feel. And I said, Lord, that's what you want me to do. It's not about me,
Wow.
because if you gave me a pencil and a pen, I can't draw anything. So
Wow.
I know that this gift is from him.
Wow. So, excuse me, when you send in a message, it says out of poverty, pregnant with possibilities. Wow.
Yes. I grew up in a small town, Haynesville, Alabama, with a population less than 1,100. My mom, I'm the youngest of 7 children. When my mom decided to separate from my father, that put us in a different socioeconomic class, very lower class. And we struggled. And at 16, I became pregnant, disappointed so many of my family members because they were hurt. However, I thought my world was over. Like, what do I do? However, moving forward, I'm the first to graduate college in my
Wow.
family. I'm the first to become a landlord. I own rental properties. I am the first to start an entrepreneurship. I just obtained my LLC. I part with Ella. Yes. So God
Wow.
is awesome.
Ooh, that hit differently when you listen to someone who says out of poverty, pregnant with possibilities. When I hear those thoughts, I think about people who think of pregnancy as doom and gloom, but sometimes it's the birthing that brings the blessings. Sometimes it's the birthing that causes us to realize though you're having this baby, it's not a burden, because that wasn't what God intended for it to be. I tell people no matter what season the baby comes, it was ordained to be a blessing, because life is a blessing. So when I hear you singing pregnant with possibilities, I see so many people who journey life and they don't know their potential because before they were able to get started, somebody reminded them of where they came from. So we're going to take a break, but just right before we go to break, what would you say to a woman, because we're celebrating women right now, who may be pregnant with the possibility, but no one has told her how to give birth?
Yes, I would tell those women to press forward with all that you have. Encourage yourself, stay in the Word. And the Word says that your gift will make room for you. I truly believe that if God gives you the gift, He will open the door.
Wow.
Be right back with Breaking Through Your Now with Sybil Sloan. Now, back to Breaking Through Your Now with Sybil Sloan.
Welcome back. And before we went to break, we were speaking with Miss Ella Howard and her new company. She's the CEO and founder of I Pop with Ella. I like the name, but tell me about the motto. I really want to hear how you came up with that.
My motto is beauty beyond the brush. And that means we want I want specifically women to think outside the box. We don't want to just focus on our outer beauty. We want you to make you feel good from the inside out. A lot of times we can cover the surface facade with some mascara, with some blush, to make people think that we're living our best life, when in actuality we may be living our best lie, because we're covering some things. So we want to dig deep at a level that's uncomfortable sometimes. And I've learned that in School of Social Work, sometimes you have to go there in order to fix things that we want to cover. And that's why we came with the motto, Beauty Beyond the Brush. So it's not just about makeup, it's about the inner person as well.
So what I'm hearing you say is you've realized that a lot of times in order to help people feel good on the inside, you have to start from the outside.
Yes.
That's what I hear.
Yes, absolutely. Because you know that when we dress up, when we make up, we feel better about ourselves. It
Right.
puts us in a different mood,
Right.
right? So yes, absolutely.
So when you decided to do this, you talked about you were actually at your primary job. I'm understanding you were at your primary job
Yes.
and you decided, hey, I want to step out into this world. What did you find to be one of the biggest barriers for women? Like you could dress them up. My daughter said this one time to me. She said, "Mama, sometimes the prettiest face is the saddest person."
There's much truth in that. And when I learned working with those women that when you establish a rapport, when you gain their trust, they open up about things that you could never see beyond that brush. Again, the foundation, the concealer that we use to cover the bags under our eyes because we've cried all night long, the sadness in our eyes. So yes, absolutely.
So if you were to say something to a young lady, because now I want to shift this for a moment to young ladies, because I know that they're in the world of makeup. You see them on the tutorials, you see them all over, and they're all made up. What would you say to them? Because some people won't even go outside without makeup on. They have become so consumed with how they look on the outside. And in my thoughts as a life coach, I believe that it's deeper than that. I believe the pain is you won't go outside without anything on the outside because you're still trying to cover the pain that's on the inside. So you present to the world that it's all together while you're barely holding it together on the inside. What would you say to that?
Absolutely. What my take on that is that, that outside facade, that covering is to make us feel pretty. But I want us to feel beautiful,
Wow, that's
meaning
good.
fix the broken, fix the hurt, maybe the ugly attitudes or whatever we may be dealing with. That's beautiful. The makeup, that's pretty. You know, we get compliments. Oh, you're so pretty, but are you beautiful? We want to be beautiful.
Oh, I like it. I like it. I like it. And it's so amazing that you said that. My very first women conference that I did was Broken but Still Beautiful. That was the very first conference I did last year. And it was, I hear that so many of us have those fragile, fractured, injured places that we think beauty is attached to externalism. And oftentimes, when we're not beautiful on the outside, it's usually an indication that there's something within that's broken. And as a result, we're displaying, we're exhibiting, we're demonstrating who we are on the inside. So oftentimes, how you encounter a person, you encounter their pain before you encounter the person. So their pain is presented first. So if they're angry and bitter, it's not because all the time that they're just a miserable person. They're painful. There's pain. And because there's pain, nobody's ministering to, nobody's speaking to the drought. So I don't know about you, but when I think about a drought, anytime there's a drought, things get worse before they
Yes.
get better. So when you find a person in a drought, be the oil, be the anointing, pour some love on that situation. And I tell people, if they're the worst person in the world, give them some love. If they're the best person in the world, give them some love, because I still believe love covers a multitude. What would you say about your life that you would want someone to glean from you and take with them from this show and into their next part of their journey?
Yes, I would say that no matter what you're going through, no matter what challenges you may be facing, push through it, no matter how hard it looks. Even in my situation, being pregnant as a teenager, my son was my inspiration to move forward, to do better, to climb higher heights. So sometimes what looks like a bad situation could really be God's way of elevating us.
And before we go, could you please tell us where we can find you if they wanted to follow you and get some more great inspiration and blessings?
Yes, my social media handle on Facebook is iPop with Ella. My website is www.ipopwithella.com, and you can find me on Instagram at e_beautiful_1.
And then that's the number one.
Yes, the number one, the number one.
And you want to give a shout out to your husband and your kids, because you know I want your husband to know that we were in a good spot today.
Yes, I will. I am safe with Miss Sybil.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you for trusting her to come tape with us and show the world exactly what she has placed within her. Remember that if you change the way that you think, you will alter the entire course of your life. Until the next time, I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.